hand leaves a pocket, a face turns, and in seconds, Brady goes from analyst to the center of a viral moment. New angles of his clash with Logan Paul keep changing the story. So what really happened on that stage? And what do the different cameras reveal? Keep watching to see why the footage has everyone debating. It happened at the Javits Center in New York City, on a stage packed with athletes, cameras, and thousands of fans who came to Fanatics Fest expecting nothing more than nostalgia and merchandise. Instead, they got a live-action confrontation between one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play football and one of the biggest stars in WWE. On Friday, the future NFL Hall of Famer and YouTuber turned WWE superstar shared the stage at Fanatics Fest in New York, and when their panel ended, the sports stars got into a heated exchange that ended with Brady slapping Paul in the face. This wasn't a backstage rumor or a leaked clip. It happened in front of a live crowd, cameras rolling from multiple angles. During the "This Is Why We Collect" panel, the footage that first hit social media showed the two men standing close, trading words, until a clip posted on Fanatics' X account showed the moment Brady and Paul faced off near center stage, while exchanging what appeared to be spicy words, before Brady removed his hand from the pocket of his camouflage cargo pants and moved to strike. That's the moment that broke the internet. But here's where it gets interesting. At first glance, it appears Brady slapped Paul across the face, but closer inspection shows that Brady's hand missed the target and only made contact with Paul's. Well, that's exactly the kind of detail that sent people scrambling for a second angle. And a third. Standing right behind them the entire time was Karl Anthony Towns, the Knicks star who had no idea what he was about to walk into. The moment things turned physical, Towns stepped in right after Brady made contact, saying "whoa, whoa" as he broke up the action. Towns wasn't alone up there either. New York Knicks star Karl Anthony Towns and Chris Costa quickly stepped in to help break things up before things got out of hand. Towns later reposted the clip himself, adding nothing but a wide-eyed emoji, which tells you everything about how blindsided he was in that moment. He didn't sign up to referee a fight between a 7-time Super Bowl champion and a WWE star. He just happened to be standing in the wrong, or right, place at the right time. Paul's own reaction, captured on the same footage, tells its own story. In the chaos right after the hit landed, Paul can be heard telling someone to get your boy repeatedly, before adding, "Take him out of here, bro. He's gonna get himself hurt, I swear to God." Another angle picked up a slightly different version of the same scramble, with Paul heard saying, "Get your boy. Get your boy, bro. Get your boy. Yeah, take him that way, bro. He's gonna get himself hurt." Whichever version you watch, the tone is the same. Paul playing it defensive and almost amused, like a man trying to talk down a situation he half expected and half didn't. Brady and Paul didn't get to finish whatever they were saying to each other. Brady and Paul were quickly escorted off stage. Security moved fast. The panel was over before the crowd even had time to process what they just watched live. Then came the online blitz. Multiple accounts posted their own footage within minutes, and the numbers moved fast. Fanatics posted the clip on social media, with Brady, Paul, WWE, and the NFL as collaborators on Instagram, and the footage went viral instantly, with more than 17.5 million views on Instagram and 6.9 million on X. WWE's own account posted a version with the caption, pointing straight at the two men involved, writing simply that Tom Brady just slapped Logan Paul at Fanatics Fest. Within hours, other outlets were tracking the numbers climb even higher, noting that the original Fanatics clip went viral and within 3 hours had been viewed more than 5 million times. Brady didn't stay quiet for long. He posted his own version of the clip on X, with a caption that was about as blunt as it gets. Just the 7-time Super Bowl champ shared footage of the altercation on X, calling Paul a dork. One word, no explanation. That's it. Paul fired back almost immediately, giving his side of the story, in a thread that read like a man trying to defend his own aura in real time. He wrote that this happened BC. I was roasting Tom for beating him in flag football, and he tries to smack me. Horrible example for the kids. He didn't stop there, tacking on a line about his aura dropping, and joking that he'd blocked Brady. Aura minus 100, he added. Blocked with a torn tricep. Brady's comeback was short and pointed. He replied directly to Paul with a message that read, "I tried, America will try again next time I see this nerd." Even artificial intelligence got dragged into the debate over what the footage actually showed. When people started asking Grok, the AI chatbot built into X, to weigh in on whether the whole thing was real, it gave a strangely confident answer, describing the clip as, a playful, likely staged promo moment from Fanatics Fest NYC, where Tom Brady and Logan Paul were bantering about athleticism, WWE stuff on stage. Before Brady slapped him and Towns stepped in to de-escalate, and it stayed light fun, concluding it was not WWE prep, just celebrity event vibes with their ongoing feud. Fans weren't buying the calm explanation though. Comment sections filled up almost instantly with theories, and plenty of people zeroed in on how the whole thing looked. One fan wrote, "We all know it's staged because Tom can't handle this in reality," while a second fan added, "That was the worst slap I have ever seen in my life. He's definitely not the GOAT at pro wrestling." That reaction alone tells you why the footage kept spreading. It wasn't just a slap. It was a slap that looked different every time someone re-uploaded it, with a new angle, a new slow motion breakdown, a new theory about who threw the first jab, verbal or otherwise. And underneath all of it sat one nagging question that nobody at Fanatics Fest bothered to answer out loud. How long had this beef actually been building before it boiled over on that stage? To understand why one slap turned into a 5 million view moment in under 3 hours, you have to go back further than that stage, at the Javits Center. This wasn't two strangers throwing hands out of nowhere. Brady and Paul had been sniping at each other for months, and the tension traces back to a very specific sore spot: athleticism. The spark came in February, during an appearance on Paul's own podcast. The beef between Tom Brady and Logan Paul continues. On Friday, the future NFL Hall of Famer and YouTuber turned WWE superstar shared the stage at Fanatics Fest in New York, and when their panel ended, the sports stars got into a heated exchange that ended with Brady slapping Paul in the face, with New York Knicks star Karl Anthony Towns and Chris Costa quickly stepping in to help break things up. But the roots of it go back to comments Paul made that Brady flat out did not appreciate. Brady and Paul's feud began in February when Paul said his WWE career made him as athletic as NFL players, which Brady, a 7-time Super Bowl champ, did not appreciate. Paul didn't hold back when he made that case. In one exchange, he put it about as boldly as possible, saying, "I am the highest level. I am the level great athlete. Bro, can Saquon Barkley do a flip off the top rope? Have you not seen me moonsault over someone's head?" Brady's reaction to that line, posted publicly, needed just a handful of words. He wrote that he'd been having a good morning, and now he wasn't. That February clash wasn't just online chatter either. It played out around a real event, a flag football exhibition in Saudi Arabia that put both men on the field together. The two had a red carpet exchange in February before the Saudi Arabia Flag Football Classic at Kingdom Arena in Riyadh. The tension didn't stay confined to interviews. It carried on to the field itself. While Paul's team did not win the championship at the Fanatics Flag Football Classic, they did defeat Brady's team, and the footballer seemed to jokingly mock Paul, tossing the ball at him during the game in March. Before that game even happened, Brady had already been needling Paul about his conditioning. On Paul's own podcast, a month prior to the Flag Football Classic, Brady appeared on an episode of Paul's podcast, Impulsive. And during the conversation, Brady said he was worried Paul wouldn't be able to keep up, calling him a good athlete while the other players are on another level. Paul wasn't willing to let that slide quietly. Paul immediately became defensive, saying, "This guy's insane. The audacity of Tom Brady, I can't believe it. Wins 7 Super Bowls, thinks he could just go around and talk about this flag football game like it's gonna be the Pro Bowl." The back and forth didn't cool off after that. It just kept finding new venues. There was a whole podcast episode dedicated to it, the Wrestler's Impulsive podcast titled Logan Paul Trash Talks Tom Brady. In the follow-up, Paul doubled down on the comparison between football and wrestling, saying, "If you put me and Tom Brady up athletically, I bet I'd be more athletic," adding that Brady used the word cute when talking about WWE, and that in many ways, football is also cute. He went even further, taking a shot at football players and basketball players as a whole, insisting that I'm a boxer and you can probably put most NFL players and basketball players in a ring and they'd probably get their ass kicked by real boxers. So by the time July rolled around, this wasn't a cold rivalry warming up. It was a slow burn that had already gone through a podcast war, a flag football grudge match, and multiple rounds of public jabs. The stage at Fanatics Fest didn't create the tension. It just gave it somewhere to erupt in front of cameras. And Brady, for his part, had already been signaling that he wanted to take this rivalry somewhere bigger than Twitter replies. Just one day before the slap, on Thursday, Brady expressed his interest in getting into the WWE, telling WWE superstar Cody Rhodes during a live taping of the What Do You Want to Talk About podcast at Fanatics Fest that he needed an invite and had been waiting for WWE President Nick Khan to come up with a storyline to get him in the mix. That timing matters. 24 hours before he laid a hand on Logan Paul in front of a live crowd, Tom Brady was publicly campaigning for a spot inside WWE's world, the exact world Paul now calls home. That's not a coincidence. Anyone at Fanatics Fest could ignore, and it's exactly why so many people started asking whether what happened on that stage was really an argument at all, or something engineered to look like one. Mm. L- Once the initial shock wore off, the conversation shifted from, "Did that really happen?" to "What actually happened?" And that's where the footage, specifically the versions that surfaced hours after the original clip, started doing some heavy lifting. The first thing viewers noticed when they slowed the video down was how Paul absorbed the hit. It didn't look like a clean slap to the cheek. It looked like something closer to a glancing blow. Slow motion replays showed Paul took most of the impact with his hand, similar to what he does on Netflix with his Vision faction teammates, Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Maxime Dupree during Monday Night Raw. That single detail changed the entire conversation. If Paul, a trained performer who spends his weekly life selling physical contact in a wrestling ring, was catching the blow with his own hand, the same way he does on live television. Then this wasn't just two guys losing their tempers. It looked like a rehearsed bit. Other outlets zeroed in on exactly where the hand landed. Some described it hitting Paul across the face. Others were more specific about the location, reporting that while on stage with WWE superstar Logan Paul, Brady slapped Paul on the head during a heated exchange. Still others described the strike differently again, noting that Brady and Paul traded words during the segment. And then, the Fox NFL analyst slapped Paul across the face with a loud, cupped hand. One more version of the footage had it landing even further from the face entirely. A simple stare down and trash talk quickly escalated when Brady slapped Paul on the side of the head. 4 different descriptions of the same 2-second moment. That's not usually what happens with a clean, real hit. That's what happens when a moving target, multiple camera angles, and slow-motion scrutiny all combine to make something ambiguous look different, depending on which frame you freeze it on. The Hollywood Reporter's breakdown went into the most technical detail of anyone, walking through the footage almost frame by frame. Their analysis found that Brady removed his hand from the pocket of his camouflage cargo pants and moved to strike. And at first glance, it appears Brady slapped Paul across the face, but closer inspection shows that Brady's hand missed the target and only made contact with Paul's landing somewhere other than a full flush hit. That's about as close as any outlet got to calling the footage inconclusive on its own terms. Even the AI chatbot Grok, which had been fed the footage directly through its own platform, leaned toward calling it a performance rather than a genuine blow-up. It described the whole exchange as a playful, likely staged promo moment from Fanatics Fest NYC, noting that Tom Brady and Logan Paul were bantering about athleticism, WWE stuff on stage. Before Brady slapped him, KAT stepped in to de-escalate, and it stayed light fun. But not everyone was ready to write it off as theater. Some of the loudest reactions in the comments leaned the opposite direction, insisting Brady genuinely lost his cool and then tried to laugh it off once cameras caught him. That tension between the "this was obviously a bit camp" and the "he actually hit him" camp is exactly why the footage kept circulating hour after hour. Every new angle became ammunition for one side or the other. Brady's own posture before the slap became a point of debate too. Fans combing through the footage frame by frame noticed something specific about how calm he looked, right up until the moment his hand moved. As one report put it, fans said the slap looked staged and noticed that Brady seemed calm before it happened. A real spontaneous blow-up usually comes with visible heat, a raised voice, a red face, something building. What people saw instead was a man who looked composed right up until he wasn't. Karl Anthony Towns' reaction became its own piece of evidence in this debate. Strangely enough, if this had been rehearsed, would the guy standing right behind them have looked as genuinely thrown as he did? Coverage highlighted just how baffled he seemed in the moment, with headlines built entirely around his confusion. As one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, it's safe to say Tom Brady has mastered the art of throwing a football, and now he's working on his ability to be a slap fighter too, like Karl Anthony Towns. Plenty of people weren't exactly sure what was going on either. That's the strange thing about this footage. Every new clip that surfaced didn't settle the debate. It added another layer to it. A slow motion angle here, an AI opinion there, a bystander's face frozen mid-shock in another. Nobody walked away from the raw video with a firm answer. What they walked away with was a bigger appetite to see where this thing was actually headed. Because if this really was some kind of setup, it had a destination in mind. And that destination had a very specific name attached to it: WWE. Here's where the footage stops being just a slap and starts looking like the opening scene of something much bigger. Because in the hours after that stage cleared out, the loudest question wasn't, was that real? It was, is Tom Brady about to wrestle Logan Paul? The timing lines up almost too well to ignore. The day before the slap, Brady sat down for a live podcast taping at the very same event and made his intentions about WWE about as clear as a retired athlete possibly could. He explained exactly why he wanted in, saying, "I feel like I'm retired from football, and I have an opportunity to go out there and still showcase that I'm a little bit of an athlete." He name-dropped a very relevant example too, pointing to a former teammate who'd already made that jump. "My boy Rob Gronkowski's done it. I've seen, obviously, Logan Paul do it. I think I could get in there for at least one match, right?" he said. And Brady wasn't just floating the idea of showing up. He already knew what role he wanted to play once he got there. Asked what kind of wrestler he'd be, he didn't hesitate. If Brady were to enter the ring, he said he'd probably be a heel, explaining, "I've always been a bad guy," because he was usually on winning teams and opposing fans loved to hate him. When you go on the road and you've had some success in the NFL, they don't like you. It's an incredible feeling when you work that entire day to basically try to send the crowd home early. The Hollywood Reporter's coverage picked up an even more detailed version of that same conversation, where Brady leaned into the villain, framing hard. "It's such an easy choice," Brady said. "I'm a bad guy. I've always been a bad guy. I mean, I feel like when our teams did really well, I would always go into these stadiums and I would feel that. When you go on the road and you've had some success in the NFL, they don't like you. It's an incredible feeling when you work that entire day to basically try to send the crowd home early." There's also the matter of who Brady said he was waiting on. He wasn't vague about it. He named the exact executive who'd need to sign off on a debut. "I need to get an invite. I've been waiting for WWE President Nick Khan to come up with some storyline for me to get in the mix," Brady told Cody Rhodes on stage, a day before he put his hand on Paul in front of thousands of witnesses. The calendar only adds fuel to the theory. WWE has major events lined up in the immediate window after the slap, giving any potential storyline a built-in stage to pay off on. As one report noted, there are some major WWE events on the calendar, including WWE, Saturday night's main event XLV, so it's possible Brady could be in some spandex very soon. Another outlet pointed to an even bigger date on the horizon, observing that SummerSlam just happens to be next month, although that would be a quick turnaround. Paul's situation adds another wrinkle to the timeline. He's not currently medically cleared to compete, which either makes a Brady program painfully convenient, giving Paul a reason to stay out of the ring while the story simmers, or completely undercuts the idea that a real match is close. He's been dealing with a serious injury for months. After rising to fame as an influencer, YouTube content creator and entrepreneur, Paul took his act to the WWE, where he's been signed to the entertainment company since 2022 and has emerged as a big star in the ring, though he's been sidelined for 2 months due to a torn tricep. Paul himself addressed his standing with the company directly during a television appearance, explaining, "I'm an independent contractor with the WWE, and I respect the WWE." Even Paul's own ex-post about the slap slipped in a reference to that injury, almost as if he wanted everyone watching to remember he wasn't fully healthy going into this. He wrote that the whole thing happened because he'd roasted Brady over the flag football loss, adding sarcastically that his aura had dropped, before signing off with the injury update built right into the joke. "Blocked with a torn tricep." So where does that leave things? WWE reposted the clip through its own official account, rather than staying quiet about it, which is not something a promotion typically does with content it wants to distance itself from. And Brady, a man who spent 2 decades reading defenses for a living, chose the 24 hours before this altercation to publicly announce he wanted a WWE storyline built around him. Whether or not the two events are connected, the outlet covering the fallout summed up the obvious question hanging over the whole thing. So, will Brady and Paul eventually work things out in the WWE ring? That remains to be seen, but Brady certainly got the first lick in. For now, nobody involved has confirmed a match, a storyline, or even a clear explanation for what really happened on that stage. What's clear is that the footage didn't fade, it multiplied. New angles kept surfacing for days afterward, each one getting picked apart by fans, outlets, and even AI chatbots trying to settle a debate that refuses to settle. The two men themselves haven't exactly rushed to smooth things over. If anything, they kept the jabs going in public, just in a lighter key than the stage confrontation. Brady's entire public response after the fact was a single word. Brady kept his explanation short and sweet, firing back with one word: dork. Paul, never one to let a headline die quietly, kept reposting the clip himself and leaning into the drama of it, framing the whole incident as part of a rivalry that shows no sign of cooling off. Fanatics' own account captured that spirit best, joking in their caption that this was simply round 100 of this never-ending beef at Fanatics Fest. Outlets covering the fallout largely landed in the same place, treating it as a rivalry that shifted formats more than it's resolved anything. One recap put it plainly, describing it as an ongoing feud, real or staged. To be fair, That's not going anywhere anytime soon. There's a version of this story where it ends exactly the way it looks. Two competitive men, a flag football loss that stung more than either wanted to admit, and a live stage that gave the tension somewhere to go. There's another version where WWE has been building toward this for months, using a podcast beef, a flag football exhibition, and a convention stage as stepping stones toward putting a 7-time Super Bowl champion in a ring against one of its top stars at the exact moment its biggest show of the summer is approaching. Both versions explain the same footage. Neither one has been confirmed. What isn't in dispute is the reach of it. Within hours, this single moment had racked up tens of millions of views across platforms, dragged in a Knicks all-star as an accidental referee, pulled in commentary from an AI chatbot, and reignited a rivalry that had already survived a podcast war and a flag football rematch. Karl Anthony Towns walked into that stage expecting a memorabilia panel and walked off it as a meme, still visibly unsure what he just witnessed. Paul is still working his way back from a torn tricep, which means whatever comes next, a match, a rematch, another round of trash talk, isn't happening tomorrow. Brady is still splitting his time between the Fox broadcast booth and whatever door WWE decides to open for him, if it opens one at all. And the footage, in all its conflicting angles and slow-motion replays, is still sitting there online, getting rewatched by anyone trying to decide for themselves whether they just watched a real fight or the first scene of a much longer story. Either way, one thing is certain: the two men are not done with each other, and the next chapter of this, whatever shape it takes, is going to be filmed too. Sources: Yahoo Entertainment. Tom Brady reacts to video of him slapping Logan Paul on stage, EE. Online: Tom Brady reacts to Logan Paul slap video at Fanatics Fest NYC. Yahoo Sports: Karl Anthony Towns left baffled after NFL legend Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul at Fanatics Fest. Hollywood Reporter: Tom Brady and Logan Paul get into heated exchange that ends with a slap. But was it fake? Complex Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul during heated Fanatics Fest confrontation. Media-ite. Watch. Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul in the face at Fanatics Fest. Yahoo Entertainment. Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul at Fanatics Fest. Calls him a dork and nerd on X, The Mirror. Tom Brady viciously slaps Logan Paul as Knicks star steps in to separate them. Jang. Tom Brady breaks silence after slapping Logan Paul at Fanatics Fest NYC. Nerd. Just Jared. Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul at Fanatics game. Fuels WWE match speculation. A to Z Sports. Tom Brady's slap of WWE star. Logan Paul just sent their simmering beef through the roof. Yahoo Sports. Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul during stare down in viral video. https:/sports.yo.com. Articles: Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul 232,325,400